My name is Aslaug. Welcome to Himmelbjerggaarden. Himmelbjerggaarden means Sky Mountain Farm in Danish, and I'm happy to show you around. Himmelbjerggaarden, for 120 years, it was an educational center, first a boys' home, an educational home, so not an orphanage, but where children were placed to be re-educated. And then in the end, since the late 70s, it was a special institution under the social psychiatric department. So basically we took over, not an abandoned institution, there was children here until the year before we took over the place in 2017. But it was definitely a place where we have done a lot to transform the energy, to bring beauty in. I think aesthetics, the atmosphere that we meet in is essential also for our collaboration and for our capability of being present. So, well, Himmelbjerggaarden is a place, it's a landscape. It's 20 hectares of land, it's 15 buildings, old buildings of different shapes and sizes spread out over the area. It's a center for regenerative learning, so we have different business activities that sustain our project. And then we work with biodiversity, regeneration of the land, education, and basically trying to be an example for a different, you would say, a model to inspire others to have more conscious choices in the way they run businesses and activities. I think having a farm and a place is incredibly important for the vision of the Regenerative Learning Center, because we can see change over time. You know, it's not just something we talk about, we see how it is implemented. I think one of the projects is working with the land, with the biodiversity. This area is Earthway's forest garden. It's the beginning of eatable food forest based on the permaculture principles. Basically, it was a 2-hectare big area with Christmas trees, so monoculture, and we are transforming it into a permaculture garden. The eatable food forest, or the Earthway's forest garden, is both for food production, regeneration of the land, enhancing biodiversity, but it's also for teaching purposes. So here we left some of the old Christmas trees as kind of a hammock hotel area where you can bring children, but of course also adults in and tell about the methods and show kind of what was the baseline when we began this project and how have been the steps to get where we are now. So this was how the area was before, so it was so packed and we didn't even know how the landscape was. And then we're testing biodynamic methods, so we didn't fence in the area even though we're very much inside the forest. So in the biodynamic tradition you put up sheep wool to keep out deer, and for now it's working. I think this sign speaks for itself, but we discovered that there were many earth bees or ground bees living in this area. So we put up the sign so that they're more protected and can still pollinate the whole area, of course, because they're good friends. You can say right now it's an investment. It's an input we put in. You know, it takes maybe 8 to 10 years for creating a full sustainable ecosystem in that area. Right now we've been putting in horse manure, compost, digging swales, planting. It's an investment into the future. But I think one of the essential part of this moment that we live in is that we have to think long term. You know, we are doing something that has a huge impact in the long run. And I think for educational purposes later on, it will be incredibly important. You know, also showing sometimes the general story is that the monoculture is the best thing because that's how we can produce enough food for. Whereas I think if we really implement regenerative methods in our food production, we'll be able to have a much bigger harvest, and the food forest is an incredible example of that. Taking over a big place like this, you realize that in running a place you have constant choices. You know, do you take the cheap way, the easy way, or do you really put sustainability at the highest in all the choices that you make? We have an mainly organic kitchen. We use the products from the land. We have chickens, but then we use sustainable building materials. We made our renewable energy system, so everything is running on renewable energy. But also in furnishing, when you have to interior design 6,000 square meters, you know, I think the easy choice would be, okay, I go online and I found, and then, you know, I check in 50 beds, da, da, da. But there, you know, there was really kind of like, no, that's not going to be the way. I decided that I really wanted to do it with secondhand things. both to support the local humanitarian organizations, but also to lower the footprint of our running the center. But also because I think old furniture and that things are not all the same is incredibly important. I mean, it's okay that things have a scratch. It's okay that we tell a story and that things are not perfect. I think that's a part of also how we animate our world. So this is one of the gardens. We fenced it in so that our chickens don't eat the veggies. But this is an oak dig where we put cardboard, horse manure, compost, organic matter, and then we grow in that, and it has really been a huge success. So trying out the different methods is also a way of understanding what works best on this land. So these are the chickens. Of course, they eat leftovers from the kitchen, and then, you know, they produce eggs, and they're excellent at fertilizing the soil. So we also put them in to the areas before we make kitchen gardens, a good and sustainable way, and then they're fun. When we took over Himmelbjerggaarden, we took over a pellet wood furnace, heating up all 6,000 square meters. And when it was coolest, we actually burned around 12 tons of pellets every 9 days. So a huge CO2 emission. So we have a company that then did calculations around how could we change that into a renewable energy system. And we made a heating pump system using the old infrastructure of the farm and dividing it into 3 zones. So this is one of the zones. And we are saving 320 tons and probably more, but that's kind of the minimum a year. And that was really important. Running a big place like this, I think the part around legislation was a part that I had not really realized the complexity of maneuvering within a country like Denmark. And that's, you know, building permits, limits to the land, the zoning. You know, on a political level, we're still in kind of evolution. Whereas I think, at least in Denmark, you know, the intention to lower our carbon footprint is there, but we still don't understand exactly how. And I think our legislation is kind of an evidence of that. You can't live in tiny houses, you know, there's a lot of limits to what you can do, and a complexity, you know, it's incredibly complex. And my hope is also that we will be an inspiration, also on a political level, that will open up for more experimental areas, because we need showcases. The biggest potential of this place is really becoming a reference point and a gathering point across all the different sectors of our society. It's kind of a bridge building between private and public sector, between education, research, and basically we are creating a new culture. You know, it's a mindset. I think showing also that evolution happens or transformation happens between a lot of different small actions. Down here behind me, we have an art piece called Hope by a local artist called Knud Bull. It was a gift from him because after he came to visit our place, he got hope. He's 80 years old and he was worried about the future. Why we have art in the area, because there's several art pieces and a whole artwork in the area, is because we believe that art has an incredible important voice in talking about some of the challenges that we have today, both to touch us on a deeper level. The voice of creativity is really an incredible part of the solution that we are using to create a bridge into the future.